Hey everyone, and welcome to the Dota 2 Builds of the Week, the weekly series where I show you guys top 5 meta builds to help you get started learning new heroes in Dota 2. As always, the link to my Twitch is down in the description below if you'd like to catch the action live, as is a link to each of the builds we're discussing today. Moreover, if you'd like to support the channel, smash the like button. Apparently it's all that YouTube cares about. With that being said, I know that a lot of you experienced Dota players out there are cringing at the fact that Pudge is on my screen right now. But rest assured, this is actually a legit build, and Pudge carry is actually legit being used in the pro meta, especially at high MMRs where people are experimenting with them. And this is going to be a good build to help you kind of familiarize yourself with the core Pudge gameplay. With that being said, you are still taking meat hook up front. I mean, you can catch so many noobs unaware at the rune, but realistically, the core way that this Pudge is being played, it revolves around his use of rot. Essentially, rot is being used to not only secure kills, because it's capable of doing that, especially with the movement slow early on, but it's being used to farm very effectively as well. Moreover, it's also very important to understand that you have very positive interactions between rot and Flesh Heap. Flesh Heap being retroactive, meaning that any kills that occur before you actually take a point of Flesh Heap still do count. But it's also very important to understand that you do need to sustain your lane. Pudge is a very weak laner. So what you want to do is you are taking as much stats as you can up front with Quelling Blade, Iron Branch into Gauntlets of Strength. But you also need this Ring of Protection to stave off the harassment from the position 4 and 3. From there, you're finishing your Vanguard, which is going to give you the sustain you need to get into the jungle. Take the creeps while also pushing the wave in. The damage block is very, very beneficial for Pudge as well. And then you go Boots of Speed into that Soul Ring. You really need that Soul Ring. Once you get the Soul Ring, obviously the health damage being offset by the Vanguard itself, you're able to use your mana a little more, willy-nilly. From there, it is the phase boots. Not only does it give Pudge the movement speed, which allows him to kind of use his phased movement to rot and stay on top of enemies, which is kind of like the core way this is being played, but it also gives him additional armor, which is super beneficial for Pudge. Into his Ags, which basically increases the damage and the radius of rot, which makes it absolutely insane to deal with, especially when you couple it with something like phase boots. It can be very, very difficult to get away with a Pudge who's using rot with phase boots and his Aghanim Scepter. Into BKB, because Pudge is very susceptible, not so much to physical damage, but the magical damage does tend to add up with him. So the BKB helps him get into the middle of the fights, use Dismember, prevent him from getting stunned, so you can actually dismember and control core key enemy targets so that you're not interrupted. And BKB allows you to really do that. You can almost think about it in a way that, like, if you're able to, say, blink, which is the next item, blink on top of an enemy core, you dismember them, you use your BKB while rotting, they're taking a ton of damage. You are not going to get stunned unless there's a Beastmaster or something like that, or a Winter Wyvern. But ultimately, it does protect you from being controlled while you're doing your rot dismember damage, which is so important to the way Pudge is being played. From there, it's also worth noting that you do see games where Hood of Defiance is taken instead of Vanguard or in addition to Vanguard. Very commonly being taken is Kaya Sange for additional damage. Moreover, Heart of Trask, a very popular choice, because as this frontlining crazy Pudge, like, you just want to sustain your fight. You want to be in the middle, you want to be wreaking havoc, and you want to be causing problems for the enemy cores. Every time there's a major like that in Arlington, Puck is one of the most contested heroes, and we could talk about him almost every single week when we talk about the builds of the week. But it's one of those things where it's like, okay, Alex, how's the gameplay changing? How's the build changing? And that's kind of what we want to focus on. Prior to the last few builds that we talked about, there was a lot of emphasis on a waning rift. Now there's a lot more emphasis on mobility and also the ability to push individual lanes and clear creep waves. So this build is an updated representation of how Puck is being played in the pro meta. So basically, you're still taking Refreshary Orb. That is Illusionary Orb. Refresher Shard on the mind. But you're taking Illusionary Orb up front with Phase Shift. Phase Shift is just simply pure value, especially as a mid. It allows you to dodge key spells, allows you to dodge auto attacks, stuff like that. It provides Puck with a lot of sustain in that those early phases of the laning stage. Waning Rift at 4 to help solidify the range creep, which is also what Illusionary Orb does as well. You're taking an immense amount of stats up front. Feel free to utilize Tango and Iron Branch in combination in order to kind of heal yourself a little longer. With the Fairy Fire does give a little added damage and that burst of health when needed as well. You are rushing bottle. This is you have to play Puck with a bottle because he's so mobile that he's able to get to those runes. You can even take both runes if your opponent's not really paying attention. If you're able to push their push your wave under their tower. They have to take farm under the tower. You can actually take both runes. From there, it's brown boots into Witchblade. This is the core build right now. You go in Witchblade into Blink Dagger so you can Dream Coil initiate. The way that it's being played right now is people are utilizing the Blink Dagger into Dream Coil Waning Rift, and then the Illusionary Orb out from where they Dream Coiled so that they can then escape while they're phase shift. So they kind of blink, Dream Coil with Waning Rift, and then what they do is they send the Illusionary Orb, they phase shift, so the guys are like, I can't do anything, and your team jumps on them, and then you kind of pop out outside the Dream Coil safely. From there, it is Kaya Sanj, simply because it gives Puck everything Puck could want into Boots of Travel. This allows you to push lanes very effectively, especially with the level 15 talent. You are basically able to utilize Illusionary Orb and Waning Rift to just blow up waves non-stop, especially when you consider the spell amplification provided by Kaya Sanj. And then you're going Aether Lens into Octarine Core. The cooldown reduction is important, the tank ability is important, the cast range is important. It just benefits Puck all around. You can tell I'm recording this a little late at night. I'm just fumbling the words. But overall, this is how Puck's being played right now, and it's being played to great effect. He's one of the most commonly played heroes in the pro meta, especially from mid. An updated guide to Dawnbreaker has been one of the most requested things that I have seen on my channel in the past few weeks. Everyone's been talking about Dawnbreaker being played pretty much all over the map, whether it be support, whether it be position 1 or position 3. We've even seen mid Dawnbreakers as well. But most common right now, and especially for players learning the hero, would be the offlane. This is where Dawnbreaker really shines. Her abilities to initiate with her ultimate Solar Guardian is absolutely immense, because as an offlaner, you really want to be a part of your fights. However, this build, which I'm going to show you momentarily, does provide a lot of utility with regards to damage capabilities, which is being utilized in the pro meta. So let's talk about it. Basically, the way this works is you are focusing in on Celestial Hammer up front. Celestial Hammer basically lets you farm very effectively. It helps you wipe the waves out, it helps you to farm camps, it lets you farm stacks, it lets you just be a huge nuisance in the laning phase. So Celestial Hammer is great. You are taking a value point in Starbreaker as well. It's very good when an opponent gets caught in the Celestial Hammer burn, and then you're able to stun them with additional damage, and obviously your support kind of back you up. Luminosity value point as well. So you are taking 2 value points on both skills while maxing out Celestial Hammer. With regards to itemization, you are taking as much stats as you can up front with a double iron branch that eventually becomes a magic wand. The magic wand's important, don't skip it, because it allows you to basically really sustain yourself in the middle of the fights, because you're right in there. When you Solar Guardian in, you are right in there. And then obviously the Gauntlets of Strength help you to build the Soul Ring, which is absolutely like almost required for Dawnbreaker, really. Phase Boots is great for Dawnbreaker. Not only does it give additional damage, because you are playing a bit of a right-clicking build here, it also gives additional armor and the mobility as well. Echo Saber, some people are actually going Deso before the Echo Saber, but most builds, especially with the ones that the pros are doing, currently have Echo Saber. The reason for this is because Echo Saber not only increases the amount of damage being done, it provides a 100% movement slow when you stack that with Celestial Hammer, as suddenly they're just kind of stuck in the burn, right? While also being slowed by Celestial Hammer as well. Moreover, the additional attacks benefit Luminosity, which has, provides the crit after every 3 attacks, and considering the level 20 talent becomes 2 attacks, that's pretty good, right? And that's why Echo Saber is valuable. Into the Shard, which provides the BKB-like effect in Starbreaker, which everyone absolutely loves, and really allows you to delay the purchase of BKB and get something like a Desolator. Yes, it's greedy as hell, but this is what a lot of pros are doing. They're taking the Desolator in conjunction with the Echo Saber, Luminosity, Celestial Hammer. You just become a damage machine. If someone else is building Deso, obviously don't build it. You can go right to your BKB Basher, and Basher's another one which benefits from the Echo Saber, which improves the chances you're able to get a very fast stun while locking them in place with the Celestial Hammer. And moreover, if they're stunned, while they're stunned, you can then start channeling your Starbreaker, and you have a much greater chance of landing it, because the stun duration is, hey, would you believe that, 1.5 seconds. Starbreaker, 1.1 channel time. So it's able to kind of stack these together. As you practice Dawnbreaker, you're also able to take that next step, where you're actually utilizing Starbreaker with the Blink Dagger, timing it in between the swipes so that you can actually blink and then stun someone a little more reliably. That's more of an advanced thing to do. With regards to the talents, there is, it's actually a pretty big split here. Some people are taking the Celestial Celestial Hammer talent. Other people prefer the Starbreaker damage. It's up to you. However, most people are kind of happy, especially with this right-clicking build with Adesso, taking the Luminosity crit with the Luminosity attacks. That's key there because that's going to allow you to do a tremendous amount of damage with this build. Zeus continues to be one of the most contested heroes in the Dota 2 meta, and for good reason. Whether he's being played as mid or as support, he continues to be an absolutely amazing hero for players of all skill sets. And honestly, he's an amazing hero for new players. In fact, I did a great beginner's guide for all new players with regards to how to play Zeus, and I'll link it up above so you can check it out if you're new to the game. But I'm going to be giving you an updated build right now as to how he's currently being played from the position 4 and position 5 standpoint. Now, what I have to tell you is that Zeus is not all about the damage. Yes, he does a tremendous amount of damage, but the important thing to understand about Zeus is that you have Lightning Bolt that provides vision and damage, but you can also deward. It also has, I should say, Thunder God's Wrath. Well, while obviously you're using in the earlier parts of the game to secure kills, it's also extremely important to understand that in later stages of the game, it can be used to provide your team with very important vision. Are they in Roshan? We're doing a gank. Where is their core? Are they ganking us? Have they smoked? There's so many things you can do with Thunder God's Wrath, and most importantly, a lot of things that a lot of players don't think about is if they have blink initiators like Axes, Tide Hunters, Legion Commanders, just before a team fight, if you Thunder God's Wrath, it actually prevents them from blinking, so you can actually Thunder God's Wrath and initiate on their initiators, and they don't have the ideal fight capabilities. So it's something you really need to think about. With that being said, from the support role, it's so important that you do take a magic stick. You do eventually upgrade it to a wand as well. You do need the null talisman, but don't skip the wand. Too many players are skipping wand. It's so important. A lot of players still have this mindset of Zeus. We got to jump on Zeus. They forget that Heavenly Jump exists, which gives you incredible mobility. You have that magic wand, which is a huge burst of health and mana. Moreover, the talents which actually benefit you the most based on this build are the movement talent, which once again benefits your ability to heavenly jump and get away from people. The health talent, 350 health, is huge for an intelligence support, right? Like, you become much more difficult to kill than people really respect. And then moreover, then the other ones, they're just damage talents. But you do want to take this magic wand because it gives you so much added sustain. Moreover, you want to get the item shard right at 15 minutes. You really want this shard right away because it just does that much damage. Like, literally, your shard will be the most damage you do in the entire game. Static field will be the most damage you do in the entire game. It doesn't matter what you build. None of these skills are going to out damage your shard. So get it at 15 minutes. From there, Aether Lens is important. Now, some people actually skip Aether Lens and they go something like Kaya Sanj, realizing that the mobility and the extra health makes them super tanky if they get initiated on anyways. However, if you're new to the game, Aether Lens really allows you to kind of play that backline casting support, and if you get initiated on, you do have some escape mechanisms. From there, his Aghanim Scepter, Nimbus is just too good to pass up on. And then finally, Octarine Core, which gives you everything you need from Aether Lens, a natural kind of progression, additional cooldown reduction, which makes you just pump out damage like crazy. And finally, if you can afford it and the game goes long, a Refresher Orb. This allows you to basically utilize Thunder God's Wrath and Nimbus twice in a team fight, and it makes a huge difference for support Zeus, who at the end of the game could seriously, from position 4, lead your entire team in hero damage. I personally think it's so funny when heroes are completely gone from the Dota 2 meta. Like, no one's picking them at all. No one picks them in pubs. And then the pro meta happens, you have a major like Arlington, and then suddenly Winter Wyvern comes flying back into the meta. Right? The Zoo heroes were in, you had the Chens, the Beastmasters, you had so many reasons to pick Winter Wyvern. And now, guess what? Everyone's favorite talking poetic dragon is now back in the meta, and here's the updated build. Basically, you're taking our Arctic Burn up front just so you can harass them in lane. It's just a great harassment spell. And then you're going to be taking Splinter Blast, with Cold Embrace as a value point at 4. Splinter Blast is a little awkward to use sometimes because you might accidentally steal some from your core, but it does allow you to trade very effectively. And moreover, by leveling it up early, when your core eventually goes to the jungle, with your Splinter Blast, especially with the talents you utilize and the Aghanim Shard, it allows you to clear lanes so damn effectively, because essentially what you can do is you can Cold Embrace your creep, like in the wave, you Splinter Blast their creep, and then your creep actually Splinter Blasts as well. From there, I mean, that's a little later on, but still, that's exactly what's going on. This particular build is revolving around healing. So you are building a early arcane boots into Aether Lens. You disassemble the arcane boots to build the Aether Lens, and then you finally build the Tranquil Boots. From there, you're building a Holy Locket. Holy Locket is just so good because it really works well with your Cold Embrace, which can be used as a tremendous save for your teammates and for yourself. We already talked about the Shard, and then you have the Blink Dagger. Now, the Blink's important. I think a lot of newer players do skip the Blink. I know it's getting cut off on my screen a little bit, but let me explain why Blink is so important. It's important because there's going to be moments, and I know Winter Wyvern, it's deceptively hard to play. It's actually one of the hardest supports to play properly. I'll take that to anybody that wants to talk about it. But the reason for this is because you really do need to utilize your Winter's Curse to good effectiveness, and Blink Winter's Curse can be game winning. It absolutely can be game winning. So remember that Winter's Curse does pierce BKB. It does pierce spell immunity. So if someone's TPing, you just need to take out their TP, right? And they BKB TP or Jug is spin TPing. You should know not to do that with a Winter Wyvern, but you use your curse. Use it to secure kills. However, in team fights, especially when team fights get hectic in later parts of the game, your Blink into Winter's Curse can literally be game winning. It can also be game ruining if your whole team's initiating on someone and you Winter's Curse them and then nullify all the damage. But I mean, that's a conversation for another day. And that's why you need the Blink Dagger to kind of help you facilitate perhaps not completely griefing your team. Thank you so much for watching, and a very special thank you to all of our wonderful subscribers. We'll see you in the next Dota 2 video.